نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن اهتدى بهديه واقتدى بسنته إلى يوم الدين وبعد. So, brother just asked me to announce that there's a lot of food that's still left over, and we would kindly like to request those that can afford to take it home, inshallah, please do so. We don't want to have to trash all that food. So just before, inshallah, we get to the new discussion, just a couple of reflections for those of us that were listening to the khutbah earlier today by Imam Harris. So I was sitting with my very good friend at iftar time. After the iftar, we were having dinner at the back, and we were eating. I don't know if he's been watching me eat very carefully, but normally I finish one plate, may Allah forgive me, I'm going to be very honest, and then I start on the second plate. I think this guy's been watching me from the first day. Today, I finished the first plate. He asked me, are you going to go for the second plate? I said, no, I listened to the khutbah earlier today. That was one of those, like I told you 2 days ago, when that brother came from Yusra Academy, he gave that talk and he hit me so hard. That was one of those khutbahs, like, I don't know why, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive me, but it's not easy to tell an entire congregation that, I'm sorry to tell you, this is not what we're supposed to be doing. SubhanAllah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward him, and make it easy for all of us to actually practice whatever it is that he shares with us, inshallah. And the second reflection, yesterday the brother announced in that very passionate fundraising talk that he gave, he said, he stood for correction as well, he said that he made mention of something in reference to a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, didn't quote the hadith of course, but he said that we would be better, those that came after the Sahaba would be better than them. False. That is impossible. Nobody ever coming after the Sahaba radiallahu anhu will be even close to them, let alone be better to them. The reference is the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet alaihi wasallam said, طوبى لمن آمن بي ورآني مرة وطوبى لمن آمن بي ولم يرني سبع مرار. Glad tidings are the words. Glad tidings to those who believed in me and they had seen me, i.e. the Sahaba. Glad tidings to them once. And glad tidings 7 times more to those who believed in me, yet they haven't seen me. Us, and those that came after the Sahaba, those who didn't see the Prophet. So glad tidings was because it's not easy for us. Yesterday on the way back for iftar, we were having this discussion in the car. Imagine, one of the brothers said, imagine being with the Sahaba, being with Abu Bakr or Umar or Uthman, and my favorite Sa'd bin Mu'adh and all the other companions. And then somebody else in the car said, right, it would have been nice. But imagine the sacrifices that they had to give for the deen too. Would we be able to give that same level? Everybody wants the biryani, nobody wants to make qurbani. First you need to make sacrifice if you want to be Abu Bakr or Umar or Uthman. Nonetheless, that was the second one. So where did that come from? I apologize, sometimes I get carried away. Thank God I take notes, right?
Reflection.
Yes, the reflection is from the khutbah. So that's the second one. The third one, Brother Tahir, our respected president, announced today, and he's been announcing, and Imam Harris also announced on numerous occasions, the people that I wanted to announce it to now aren't here for some reason. I see them all the time, but now there's only a couple of them here. I'd be hoping on a Friday evening at this time they'd all be here, but we have, how many? I think it was 14 registers. People, 17. 17 people who have registered for a Quran competition. I hate to poop on people's party tonight, maybe because I didn't get permission myself, but we have 16 teams registered for the ball tournament. 16 teams of a minimum of 3 players each, plus 1 sub, plus stacks, maybe a 5th one. We're talking, I don't know how much, 16 threes makes how much? But we have a lot of people, at least over 40 people? 40 for sure, 45 people. 45 people registered for a basketball tournament. And 17 registered for a competition for the Book of Allah. So what we're going to do, I saw my friend here. Oh, he's not here now either. I think Ibrahim is the one in charge.
Yeah, there's 30 teams, not 16.
Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un. You just ruined everything. 30 teams, all Muslims, huh?
Yeah.
You know what we're going to do? We're going to send some of our police from the masjid to the ball tournament, and we're going to make all of them sign up. Whether they sign up for a Surah Ikhlas with the meaning, or Surah, I don't know what categories we have, we're going to get 20 people signed up. Just tonight, you're gonna look at the registers not by midnight, sorry, by 3 in the morning, by 3 or 4 in the morning, by suhoor. By suhoor, we're gonna have at least 30 teams. We're gonna ask for 30 people. That's it, from the 30 teams. That one guy last night, he went mad in the March Madness, in the tournament. He had, I think, like 110 followers. Before that game, he has 11,000 last night. That's what we're gonna do with this Quran competition registration tonight. So that was the next one. We shouldn't have to, we've lost it. Unfortunately, we all have. Like, those of you that are gonna play in the tournament that are listening to this, watching me talk, please, whatever it is you sign for. I think Surah Mulk after a certain age, the open category is Surah Mulk or Surah Sajda. Even if you can learn one ayah of it, it's not too late. Oh no, this is extreme, brother. No, it's just a basketball. No, it's not. I'm going to tell you a story of two giants from the subcontinent. One, his title was Shaykh al-Islam. This is a title that was used by many. Imam Ghazali rahimahullah used it, and Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, they didn't use it. They weren't self-proclaimed Shaykh al-Islam, so it was given to them. One of them from the subcontinent, Maulana Hussein Ahmad Madani rahimahullah. He and his teacher, they called him Shaykh al-Hind, Maulana Mahmud al-Hasan. The two of them were admitted to a jail. They were imprisoned for 3 long years, and this is common. Well, those who speak the truth and speak and advocate for the truth, it happens. So they were put into jail, the jail in Malta. In Malta for 3 long years. The first month of Ramadan that they were there, neither of them were Hafiz. By the way, they're giants, one of the greatest scholars that taught the Sahih of Imam Bukhari, but they weren't Hufaz, just as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decreed. Neither of them were. So they're admitted into the prison. And the teacher said to the student, Mahmoud Hassan said to Hussein Ahmad Madani, he said, we've got a big problem. He said, what is it? He said, Ramadan is just around the corner a couple of days from now, and we have no Hufaz amongst us. Just the two of us and a bunch of other people that know nothing. He said, teacher, I got us. You have nothing to worry about. He says, what do you mean? He says, Ramadan is just a couple of days away. He says, don't worry about it. We're going to have Tarawih this year like we've had every other year of our lives. Ramadan came. Remember the name, Hussein Ahmad Madani. Activist, giant scholar of hadith. Oh, just Hussein Ahmad Madani. Memorized 1 juz of the Holy Quran in the morning. Reviewed it in the afternoon. And led it in Salatul Tarawih in the night. The whole Ramadan, the Quran was complete. We can learn Surah Sajda between now and April 3rd, April 2nd. We actually can. I've seen some of us study for the MCAT. It's like I didn't know them. I've known them for 20 years, but I don't know them. I love it. Keep studying, read till your eyes bleed. But for this too. Anyways, so the new discussion now. We finished with we'll never finish, by the way, with Surah Al-Fatiha. Just from, the 10 minutes that we have, and this 10 minutes is already up. So from the 10 minutes, but tomorrow there's no work. So from the 10 minutes that we have, the little discussion that we could have, the next are the 2 Mu'awwadhatayn. 2 very special surahs, like every other surah in the Holy Quran. Mu'awwadhatayn, Ibn Kathir rahimahullah others, Mu'awwadhatayn, nonetheless. Mu'awwadhatayn refers to قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ. Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah and many other exegetes, commentators of the Holy Quran, have actually produced the commentary for these 2 chapters of the Holy Quran together. قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ and قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ. Why? Because the Sha'ni Nuzul, the reason why they were revealed, the occasion on which they were revealed, they were both revealed at one and the same time. We'll mention the cause for the revelation inshallah tomorrow. But for today, just a few of the merits and the virtues and the blessings for reciting these 2 surahs. Extremely powerful. 2 very simple surahs. قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ until the end. قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ until the end. Both of these were revealed together. After they were revealed, the Prophet ﷺ, the hadith is in the Musnad of Imam Ahmad, he was with Uqba bin Amir radiallahu anhu, and he said to him, "O Uqba, do you know what was revealed to me last night?" He said, "Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, no I don't." Something along these lines. He said, 2 such chapters of the Holy Quran were revealed to me last night, the likes of which have never been seen before. One narration, the likes of which were not revealed in the Torah, in the Injil, in the Zabur. قل أعوذ برب الفلق, قل أعوذ برب الناس. Uqba bin Amir, and according to another narration, it was Abdullah bin Khubayb radiallahu anhu. They were once traveling with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was walking, and this companion was mounted on his conveyance. So the Prophet alaihi wasallam, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was mounted at first, and this Sahabi was walking. And then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam requested him to mount while he sallallahu alaihi wasallam would walk. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam treated all of them equally. Nonetheless, after this, the Prophet ﷺ then asked this companion to recite, to say, Qul. So the Sahabi said, Ya Rasulullah, what would you like me to say? He said, Qul, just say. He says, Ya Rasulullah, what would you like me to say? He said, Qul, according to one narration, Qul huwa Allahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yulad. And then, Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq until the end. And then, Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas, malikin nas, ilahin nas. Then the Prophet ﷺ performed the Maghrib Salah, and then the Prophet ﷺ told the companion that was with him on that occasion that before you go to sleep and when you wake up in the morn, you should make it a practice of reciting these two surahs. According to the other narration, these three surahs. Now the hadith of Imam Bukhari rahimahullah, the Prophet ﷺ before going to bed, every single night, this is what we need as adults, and to our children, we need to inspire them with the same. To go to sleep after having practiced this teaching of the Prophet ﷺ, he would recite Qul huwa Allahu ahad, the entire chapter, Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq, the entire thing, and Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas, and then he would blow. He would make the act of blowing, literally, not spit, but like he was, like this, thrice. And then he ﷺ would rub his hands all over his entire body. This is before going to bed every night. He would repeat this a second time, and he would repeat this a third time. Every single night before going to bed, he ﷺ would practice this. Then, after Salatul Fajr, the Prophet ﷺ would recite these three chapters of the Holy Quran again, thrice. However, after Fajr, he would not do the blowing and the rubbing over his body. And then again, after Maghrib, he ﷺ would do exactly the same. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ. All three of them once, then twice, then thrice. And then he ﷺ had a practice of reciting numerous things from which he would seek Allah's protection. He would recite numerous things. When Allah revealed قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ, this was it. The Prophet ﷺ said, there is nothing that a person can recite to help save them, to help ward off, to help grant them refuge and protection from any mental uneasiness, from any anxiety. I spoke to a brother today, people go through stuff. Long story short, everybody is almost going through something nowadays. Recite these chapters of the Holy Quran. The Prophet ﷺ said, there is nothing that a person can recite that'll help him in this state of depression, dejected, distressed, or anxious. Then, last narration, the hadith is in the Mu'atta Imam Malik rahimahullah. Aisha radiallahu anha narrates the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He used to, whenever he was trying, whenever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tested him with a sickness, with any ailment, he would recite these surahs. And again, after reciting them, he would blow. These are all reliable sound ahadith, by the way. He sallallahu alaihi wasallam would recite, and then he would blow into his hands, and then he would rub over his entire body. And then she said, during the latter part of his life, the last days of his noble life, when his sickness became acute, when it became very, very difficult for him, then Aisha radiallahu anha says, I used to read for him, and I used to blow in his hands. And then one narration, she would take the hands of the Prophet ﷺ and rub them over his body, or she herself would take her hands. But I think more correct, because there's a different narration that says, my hands weren't befitting. Aisha radiallahu anha said. So I would recite, I would blow into his hand, and then I would rub his hands over his entire body. The bottom line is, these are very special verses of the Holy Quran, which every single one of us should recite. If we're going to bed and then blowing it over ourselves, thrice, and then after Salatul Fajr as well, thrice, all three of them, 3 times, and then after Salatul Maghrib as well, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for us.